Hey there, every pony out there. It is finally happening. MLP hairstyles. Probably one of those that have been on the list for quite a while already. Like just not their second place every time in the poll, and then I slightly rigged the poll, as in not adding any new ones. Because I'll be going through the current list that is in the poll, and once those run out, I will create new topics for which there are already some on the horizon, so that will happen. Yeah, so let's get started because hairstyles. Oh god, I hope I don't mess this up. Um, let's begin with hairstyles. Yes. So, what are hairstyles? Well, it's hair. It kind of says so in the name. And well, it's basically the style that said hair is in. And well, hair, where does it come from? Well, it grows from, well, it can kind of grow just about anywhere on your body, depending on what you are. Well, I'm a monkey, and for those familiar with monkeys, well, they do have quite a few hairs, I suppose. Uh, Maybe even on my eyeball. Wait, what? And I'm digressing. Let's get to the hairstyles because, well, the things I'm going to focus on, something that humans don't really have, is tails. So also for now, I kind of plan to focus a bit on the manes because those are a bit more complex, I'd say, than the tails. Or the tails, I will brush up on because, well, the base, the essence behind it, or the basics behind the tail, is a lot simpler than the mains, because it is kind of what you'd expect slightly in a way, but there is certain details that might be important to know when making tails. But yeah, basically the mains and tails, because well, ponies have that. So uh, let's start with the hair base. I've written down hair base, which counts for both the manes and tails, and that's kind of where the hair starts because that is probably that's pretty important to know, because that is what defines the capabilities, the possibilities when it comes to the hair. Also, since hair is quite moldable in ways, so you're kind of free with it, depending on what you kind of want to go. But basically, the reason I want to go with the base is, let's imagine this is like a pony head from the top. I have gone through this real briefly, slightly during pony basics, I think. So this is basically top view from above, top view. So the ears kind of here, I suppose, kind of, and the eyes are from here. Some might recognize this slightly. And then when it comes to ponies or horses in general, which zebras also, which I guess zebras will be a quick topic because they have a mohawk, but zebras and kind of, well, Zagora kind of shows it quite clearly as to how the mane kind of works, because unlike humans, which grow hair at quite a big surface on their head, horses grow them along a line through the center of the head, from the front to the back, backwards onto the neck and such. So kind of like this area slightly. The thickness might kind of depend. I'm not sure what the exact thickness is, besides the fact that in MLP it sometimes kind of seems to be just one line, but a Zagora at the other end as well. But I like to imagine this should work fine as well if you want to make it a bit thicker, but in the show they just keep it at one line, which I guess is easier to make for them. But yeah, that's basically the first thing you'd have to think about when creating a main style, and whether you want to incorporate this and whether it will limit what you want to do with the hairstyle you might be thinking of. So, and then the other base, I suppose. So let's make the rear view. I suppose, kind of, or well, like so. Nice little feel, because I don't need to make the legs anyhow. I just like making those parts, I suppose. Well, just kind of a crude one. So a tail kind of comes from here, but let's take it from the side. Actually, the thing with the tail, like this is the side view of the flank, okay, the leg here. The tail, technically, if you take away all the hair, they still have like the base of the tail is flesh and bone, or skin and bone, kind of. So there is a bone structure inside the tail. When it comes to the tail, that is maybe quite relevant. The tail stem. Thank you. I was looking for the term. And also, like in MLP, they are quite high. They tend to stand up a bit, like dogs. Like just look at a dog. Dog has also has a tail, but then with horses, they have quite long hairs attached to it. So that creates the magnificent tail. So fabulous. Oh. And the tail stem can be quite long, but I guess it could vary a bit. Like especially if you look at some of the episodes in the show where with Stephen Magnet, where Rarity cuts off her tail, she does it quite short, which kind of when looking at real horses, she kind of cuts off part of her bone of her tail stem as well. So you can kind of play around with it, but this can be fun to look at if you're doing the tail as well and designing it, and kind of just if you have if anyone has ever seen horse tail bandages, they tend to be bandaged here, which basically bandage around the tail stem if they have a wound there or broken. I don't know what can happen. Things like that, but then you can just add in the hairs, just like all the hairs, which you would also do with this, with the head, with the mane, with the fabulous manes as well. So this is kind of the base of both the mane and the tail. So that is kind of things where you can kind of start out with. If you get confused kind of about your hairstyle, go back to this, or start out with it. Things like that. So manes and tails. So I guess next on the list I kind of have Applejack. I guess I kind of forgot to do like a quick little brush up on what I want to do today. It's kind of going, well, basically I'll just do it now then. I'll go through some existing hairstyles. I added another one down here, which was quite interesting because Cloud Chaser is a 3-parter mane, which most other ponies have just 2 parts to their manes. But Cloud Chaser does it kind of differently. She has the front, the middle, and then the back on her head. But yeah, so I added those now. So existing mains, then, well, I put Siva here, but that one is, I guess, pretty simple. And then original hairstyling, kind of taking what we took from the existing ones and try to apply it to our own designs. Kind of make our own designs. I'm not sure how that will go, but I'm just going to wing it. I wish there was a pun for like I'm going to hair it or something. At least there's not one that I'm aware of. Anyhow, let's continue. What I mentioned during with Cloud is the 3-part mane. Most ponies have 2 parts to their manes, and that seems to be the average. Like Applejack has it, Rarity has it, where 1 part goes over the front of their head, like you have the head here and then the ears kind of here, and then 1 part goes over the top. I guess I'm slightly doing rarity here already. Rarity's main. I put specifically rarity in because that seems to be the most, in general, the hardest to do for most folks out there, I think, or that's at least what I got out of it. So this one I'll definitely be covering. I will do her tail as well, because her tail, for me, her tail is the harder part of the two, actually. Kind of. But yeah, basically, where was I? Well, yeah, basically one part that goes to the front, one part that goes to the rear. I guess I should add a horn here, so like that, yeah. So yeah, here this kind of the base structure of that. So, but yeah, first things first, Applejack, of course. I have Applejack, or I guess it might not be the best to start out with to explain things, but let's try to decipher it. So kind of Applejack's main here. Yeah, of course, I don't need any reference for this, of course. Or well, I tend to kind of switch up Applejack's main from time to time, slightly varying with it. Maybe I should leave out the ear. Cloud Chase is an existing pony in this show. I guess it's the fandom name, but to help identify who I'm talking about, I thought it was useful to put the name. So yeah, oh god, yeah, this is kind of a place where the front of the mane kind of runs here. I removed her ear to kind of help show it slightly. This is kind of a 3/4 view, side view kind of idea here. So, and then her tail kind of runs here, and yeah, her ponytail. So here in the back you can kind of already see where I put the divide, which is usually put behind the ear. But if you've ever seen kind of the rear views of some ponies where you see them from behind, you can kind of see a divide, like kind of along these lines, where the straight line still runs here, but it's basically just like the divide that some humans also have on their hair, like one part to the left, one part to the right. It's kind of the same thing here, also in a different way, because you're working with one line, and that's what I will be going to real quickly next, is because you're working with a long straight line rather than a big surface on top of the head like humans have. Like humans have this big surface on their head, and then the ear is kind of here, and then to work with. Ponies have a straight line, so they have to kind of rely on different hair lengths depending on what kind of hairstyle you have, and at least you can kind of play around with that, with the hair length to like well, they have barbershops out there. I assume they had barbershops, right? And besides the fact that Rarity can style mains anyway, so it's safe to assume they have barbershops, even if it hasn't been shown directly in the show. But yeah, basically rear view kind of here. So that's kind of important to think about. And then let's take this one. So, and the reason why I'm mentioning the base of the hair is because, well, you have this hair, and then with Rarity's hair, it's kind of obvious where each strand of the hair kind of comes from, where from the head it originates from. But with hairstyles like Applejack, it is slightly harder to exactly tell how it works, where the base comes from. And I guess in a way it is kind of a puzzle here. Like, I'm kind of thinking of how they combed her hair, and let's try to do this with color coding, perhaps. Like, let's create the base of her mane, which would kind of run here, kind of. Did I just, yeah, I created a new layer, but I worked in the wrong layer. And now this is kind of, imagine like this being the origin of the hair, the line on her head, kind of roughly done. So that's where all the hair would kind of come from. And then the front part here, I would assume that this is the frontmost area that comes out of her head, and it kind of I expect it to kind of run here. So this is kind of the area, and then that originates from here. It's maybe slightly brighter. So that's the front part of the thing, like this area here. So kind of using that to kind of decipher it, and then there's the right part, or for us the lower part here, kind of here, and then the, let's say, the back part here for Applejack. This seems to be the three parts of Applejack's hair slightly, if I'd have to decipher it to an origin. And that's kind of basically green on this side and then blue on this side, kind of thingy. And then the orange is kind of sits on the front there. So to kind of get some logic behind her hair and to how this hairstyle would be done in real life, how would you possibly be able to do that? And then her tail here is somewhat easier, I suppose, to decipher. Like this up here basically just comes from the top, and then everything down here comes from the lower parts, of course, and then everything in between gradually more and more. So relatively easy to take. And the thing what I do like about Applejack's mane, I suppose, is the curves here. She has pretty curves in her tail, and then of course tied together there. So this is kind of a hopefully a bit deciphering of how a mane like this works, and then you can kind of apply this to like a Rainbow Dash as well, and others with similar styles. So I guess that kind of covers Rainbow Dash's hair as well. I suppose I don't really have to cover the Applejack's tail here. It's quite relatively simple, I suppose. It's just a big pluck of hair and then tied together at the end. So let's move on to Rarity's mane. I created a new, okay, yeah, new layers, of course, layers, oh my. Anyhow, let's take Rarity's mane. Let's create a circle, because ponies like circles apparently. I should just make a triangle pony. And indeed, the two athletic ponies showing the bit more natural mane, I suppose. Bit more like, oh, just put it to the front, done. kind of thing. Then Rainbow Dash, of course, has even simpler back mane, which is sits freely, kind of, or well, not exactly like this, or I can't remember the exact curves, but something like that. And I just removed it, yes. Let's go with the rarities main. So how I start out with rarities main, because her shape, you can, her mane at least, you can kind of see as it like a flat plane, just a flat plane that is curled, which most curls I suppose are, but like if you take a toilet roll, let's do a fun little comparison between a rarity and a toilet roll. Yeah, if you tear the toilet roll apart through along the seam, and you roll it out, you get one flat, long flat thingy like this, and then basically it's just curled up, kind of like it's a flat piece of, well, hair in this case, flat piece of hair that is curled up, or curled along her mane. That is kind of how I look at it, at her mane. Her tail is slightly different. That's why I said that her tail bothers me more so than the mane. But let's continue. So, well, basically, let's take the toilet roll. So first off, it kind of goes up, right? Like from the base. That's why I started with the base. It's just a straight line, and that's also why I use the toilet roll, and why I look at it as a flat plane, because the origin is a straight line and thus a flat plane that kind of comes out of it. So it curls up. It goes to the side. And that is, and just you make a nice little curl, just a curve like this. Worry the most about the front curve, and then the back side, the top line here kind of comes along by itself. The top line is kind of, I guess it's a curve that goes behind itself, so it's it kind of melts together in there, in this, and I suppose the angle up here is slightly different. So I just started out with a big curve here with almost half a circle, kind of, and I suppose this might be a bit too high. So I kind of, since rarity has kind of a hard sudden edge here, or a sudden change of direction, which can kind of be explained with perspective in a way, but perspective is kind of hard to do in 2D. So we'll just go with this. This is kind of how I see it. And then, so this is the inside, and then I'm trying to think of what her general direction of curve is, and I suppose her it kind of depends on what angle you are. I guess the other line also works, but so let's kind of keep it at that, because that's, I think, in general how her hair is styled. So a gentle curve, and then it's kind of creates an S shape. So again, I'm focused on, first I focused on the baseline, and now I focused primarily on the front line, the front edge. That's kind of the most important part here. So as long as you have that edge, the rest of it should be easier to do. The S as in monkey. So let's create that little curl here. So that front line. So that's done. Well, this is kind of rarity's main. This may be slightly different. Like this might be flat up here, perhaps at times, or like I already said, this curve here might be a bit sharper, and the general proportions of this this one might be slightly off as well. Like I might have to kind of increase the size slightly, yeah, things like that. But this is basically this is the general shape of her mane. So we got this, and then we basically finish the flat plane. We have two sides. We have one side, the origin, and the other side, and now it's just filling in the gaps in between them. So creating this line here, which is kind of parallax to, or yeah, parallax or even well, yeah, straight goes this basically this line here along her head, which is this line, so it goes there, and then here the same kind of to show the that's direction that she has. So here we have her mane kind of, and then I suppose trying a bit further back here, like kind of same principle, just that curve. So here's Rarity's mane, so the general idea, and then of course she has her lines here, but that all kind of follows the same curve that you've already put down here. And then this is the inside, like this is curve, this is the inside, so kind of following this outer curve here, the front line, taking back everything to the front line that we put down, and then just based on that doing all the tinier curves inside. So there we have a Rarity mane, kind of easy, right? And then, well, I guess this top is maybe the easier part of the two of her mane. Now let's go to the lower part. I guess it's worth spending a bit more time on Rarity's mane. So, like here, the base, kind of what the base, the origin of her mane runs down further down, runs all the way down in the back of the neck. So that is something you gotta keep in mind when doing the next step, because you have the top origin here and then the lower origin. So kind of the same thing here, starting out with that, although it's kind of hidden behind her head here, but you gotta keep that in mind. So let's try to find this front line again. You can kind of find that here, kind of the same thing, like start it out with the top, which I also did here, create that curve down there, and she kind of has an S curve again here, so, and then it curls inwards again, kind of the same as here, although a bit less dramatic line or curve up here. No half circle because it already goes down. It has to go down, or well, it's going down here, so but here the origin points upwards first, so there's that. But yeah, basically that this line is again probably the most important when it comes to Rarity's mane. So there we go. This is kind of the essence of her mane again, and then kind of taking the other origin here, the lower one, which kind of hides behind the other one. So it's just a small line here in this case, but it's good to kind of keep that in mind because it kind of runs through to here, like it kind of also follows this curve here, like the other side of the S. Like this line down here is basically this line here, which I guess I'll leave there. So there we go, and then I guess one of the bigger parts that's still missing now is this top one here, kind of the same thing we did here, which is slightly different than the top of her mane because you only see the top of the curve, you don't see any origin. It is in this case you can kind of look at her mane as being kind of a concave or convex shape, like a spoon. A Rarity spoon, toilet roll, marshmallow. Yeah, all makes sense now, right? Like this is basically the bulge of the spoon kind of side. You can kind of look at it like that. Anyways, which this one kind of also does, but yeah, this kind of to make it simple. And then again, the final step is creating that origin line again, the direction, the thickness and such. And then this is kind of it. It's not the prettiest out there, but the prettiest mane. But this is kind of the basic Rarity mane here. So there we go. I'm spending quite a bit of time on Hairstyles main. I have half an hour to go. Let's quickly do her tail, perhaps, which is kind of kind of an slightly annoying or weird shape, because, or well, the show, when I look at the show, it kind of appears like her tail is not flat but a triangle, like a triangle that goes upwards, kind of a triangle like this, her tail, in a way. And that is kind of what I see in her tail, but it switches over to a flat shape at one point, which I guess happens, I suppose, or well, behind some one of the curves it suddenly seems to do that, in a way. I'll just yeah. But yeah, kind of Rarity's tail kind of starts out relatively flat as well. So let's just keep it with that. Try to decipher her biggest the front line again, since you can even a triangle has flat faces, so you can kind of decipher it down to that. So here we go. Let's create this line, and the curves kind of fall behind themselves when it comes to her tail, but so, and then her flank kind of here. And I guess this again, the bottom line, kind of the same thing as we did with her main, her rear main here, the lower line. She kind of has a flat origin almost here, but I guess they made a triangle because her tail is relatively round when you slice through it. Although I don't recommend slicing through it, although Rarity has done that herself already, or well, yeah, with a scissors, with scissors I think it was. Anyhow, or no, with a skill. She indeed sliced with a fabulous skill. With a sharp skill. So let's finish that curve here. Like, and this is the part that makes me think it's triangular for some reason. Like, and then the other side, like here, triangle. This is kind of the reason why, yeah, I kind of see it as triangle. But this, basically, her tail you can kind of build up from almost separate shapes, or well, when you look at the vectors used in the show. So this kind of also why the tail kind of feels weird to me, because this curve doesn't exactly look like it's going behind itself, but basically it should kind of go in this direction. So I'm just, I guess I'll just go here. Like, or wait, hold on. Yeah, kind of the curl going here again, and then I guess it goes upwards. I'm kind of looking at it, and then, well, here we go. That side again. This side kind of repeats itself on this side again, and then the thickness kind of shown here, I suppose, or something like this, something like this. Oh god, I'm failing here. Yeah, it goes to show that I'm really bad with this thing. But then the final part is, I guess, slightly confused, because suddenly it comes out to the center here, so the curl kind of goes in itself in a way, but it doesn't really show that in the show. So, but it kind of goes flat, and then you can use the same principles that you use with the main here, create that first line and then create the other line and then connect the lines in between them. So kind of there, her tail kind of really rough, because I kind of want to move on to 25 minutes to go until Q&A part. Although I guess I could use Q&A part to fill up some more original hairstyling. Main six. Which of the other main six should I kind of go through? Twilight. Twilight has an interesting hairstyle, because she takes a line that is placed like this, like seen from the top, and makes it in a line that is placed exactly in the opposite direction. That is kind of Twilight's main explained. Um, so yeah, Twilight main. But no, I'll see if I can kind of show what I kind of see in why or how her main can even sit like that. Well, Twilight's main, if you've looked at the front of looked at the front line, it's never straight like this. Like one end, like so you have kind of her head here again, and then the top curve. One side is always higher than the other side, or often higher than the other side, and through that I can kind of tell how her main works, how the switch works from this line to the other line, because one side is higher than the other. So that kind of wave, indeed, which not only makes it a bit more logical, her hairstyle, but it's also is aesthetically pleasing, right? So here we go, like those little. So this is very roughly, and then of course her ear is kind of here, but it kind of already shows here. Like this part is lower because it has to travel further back, and this part here is higher because it tries to end up at the same line, but because it's already closer, it has to take a detour upwards first, because it's roughly the same length hair all throughout, kind of that kind of logic behind it. So this part, the part that is higher, is located at the front, starts at the front. So let's do some color coding again, I suppose. So this line here, this curve here, is this part here at the front and ends up here, and then the other part, this curve here, sits at the back. So it kind of creates this kind of line ID, and then everything in between kind of disconnection, kind of creating, because everything in the center kind of runs like this. Again, so this is kind of. So this is what I got from the shape of her mane as to where each strand of the hair comes from. So let's maybe actually back, front. So that's kind of Twilight's top mane. Yeah, and that's actually basically it, I guess. I hope that kind of explains it. Yeah, I plan to work these lines here. So, and I did that. So I guess that makes sense. And the rear of her mane is really easy. Yeah, kind of the same thing with Rarity. It's just a flat plane, except compared to Rarity, Twilight's mane is just flat. It doesn't have a curl in it, but in essence it's kind of the same concept. And I guess that's also the reason why the which episode was that where Twilight gets the curl? Oh wait, yes, the Cutie Pox episode, where she gets the Rarity hairstyle suddenly. Oh god, 20 minutes to go. So yeah, this is relatively easy. Let's see, which other Fluttershy's I guess is not the hardest to do, right? Fluttershy's mane. It's kind of the same thing with Rarity again, except that her mane has a bit more thickness to it. Like again with Fluttershy, it's this center line, and then it's just taking the front curve again. So there's this, but then this front line gets a bit of thickness, so it's kind of two lines running next to each other in a way. That's kind of how I see Fluttershy's hair, and then the rest is the same as with Rarity's kind of thing. And then yeah, this is the inside here, those kind of things, and then the curl here. The end is kind of different than Rarity's, of course, but yeah. And she has hair extensions, indeed, things like that. Fabulous. And I guess where Fluttershy's top is slightly lower. I always draw it a bit too high compared to the show, or a bit further up. I blame Rarity. Rarity's mane goes so far up, and then Fluttershy stays quite level compared to her head. And let's see, actually this. And then again, S curves kind of ID. There we go. Fluttershy. I guess we'll quickly go to Pinkie Pie as well. I guess I've plenty of time to. Oh, well, I kind of also want to do Cloud Chaser. So, and Zebra, I'll quickly do that. Zebra is quite easy to kind of do. Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie's mane is one that is quite that kind of shows what kind of extreme you can go to and how much of the base you can really cover up, like how important the base, or well, how not important the base can become, but at the same time also important, because Pinkie Pie shares both a mane that shows the base line, the origin line, on her head, but also covers up the origin line of her head, and that's specifically the top. The top kind of her head kind of shows the origin again, like this center line is visible with Pinkie Pie's mane. So there's that, and then it just kind of comes out from there again. Let's actually change the curve from a bit more side view. So then there's the front, of course, like this base. With Pinkie Pie, I guess it's kind of like this, and then, well, it's usually curls like this that curl, or lines that curl over themselves, kind of idea. Depending on the location, like, and then there's this here, there, like where her ear kind of sits. I suppose it kind of it switches over quite less abrupt than Rarities and such. That is, I guess, the difference with the other main styles, where there's this a clear divide between the top and the bottom. With Pinkie Pie, it is less obvious done. Like her curls kind of just goes from the front to the back and just creates one giant piece of pink, fluffy, unique. Wait, what? No, that's something else. Pink mane, giant pink sugar candy, cotton candy mane. Like it's round, it's puffy, it's big, and a big mass of hair at the back, which gathers at the back, even though the front, the origin line, is quite flat, which is quite amusing to see that the base is still flat, and then suddenly it turns into this big giant thing here at the side, where, well, her ear kind of covers up that lower transition. But with Pinkie Pie, you can see the transition, the top line just goes from one into the other, and like it doesn't stop exactly. It doesn't exactly stop at any point. So that's kind of Pinkie Pie, I suppose. I kind of only RD is not included. And this, I'll quickly do Rainbow Dash as well. Just kind of just to have that here as well. So just start with the top. She has kind of points, I suppose. Yeah, so there, and then she has quite a simple back curve with points again. So there we go. Kind of so messy. Well, I guess she shouldn't be going that fast. 10 seconds flat. I think it took a bit longer than 10 seconds, but oh well. Let's see. Zebra, Zagora. It's Zagora. Zagora is like the most basic shape you can kind of have when it comes to horse and zebras and other equine species out there in her style. Although her Nightmare Night hairstyle is does quite show that she still can take on other hairstyles. So like her outfit, which featured quite an awesome hairstyle, I'd say. Swoop down or divided, actually. Yeah, that hairstyle is actually pretty awesome. I actually forgot that before I start this. 10 minutes ago, oh my. Original hairstyles might just be somewhat rushed during the Q&A. Anyhow, Zagora, well, zebra, like this, and then the back, the hairs become shorter and such. Got this at the end. I suppose it can be curved a bit, and you can kind of see the fight. So, but this basically shows that this is probably the best example to show that their hair comes from one single line upwards. And the Nightmare Night version of her shows that, or kind of shows that the main six and all the other ponies have logical hairstyles as well. Like that you can still have hair as fabulous as that, even though the origin is just a single line kind of thing. Like Sakora's Nightmare Night is kind of a divide from the front, where the front is equally divided into left and right, which goes to show that even though the line is one single line, because the show kind of does that, it doesn't really matter as much for the amount of hair. If you can kind of fit it in here, you can kind of play around with it. If it feels too much, then it feels too much, but at least you've tried it. There's something for the when you're designing your own hairstyle. Like, you don't have to stick around with just one direction for origin line. You can take as many hairs from one point as you kind of want, and so you don't have to be limited by that. I cannot remember what the rest of her main. I guess Sakora's Nightmare Night main was relatively flat, and this is actually a three-parter kind of. Also quite simple, but I guess this is a nice segue into Cloud Chase and such. The three-parter mains. This is kind of a three-parter main, and you can, I guess, you can have as many parts as you want. Yes, of course. So, kind of Sakura, kind of ID, and then I guess down here it kind of went like that as well, or something. I cannot exactly remember how it went. Like, it was actually thick here. Yeah, it was actually quite long, I think, during Nightmare Night, which you wouldn't really tell with her mohawk, with her usual hairstyle. But I suppose she might have a little brew or something for that. So there's that. Let's see, 10 minutes to go until Q&A part. Cloud Chaser. And I guess I kind of was using Cloud Chaser as an excuse to kind of show the different how many parts you can have, which I guess Sakura kind of stole that thunder from her, pun intended, I suppose. Would be better if it was Thunder Lane. Oh well, close enough. Pegasi, Thunder Clouds. I guess she's familiar with that. Anyhow, let's kind of go to Cloud Chase because she has quite an interesting one. She has she has two divides. She has one up here at the front and one back here, which the others kind of also have. Whereas she has just has that tail ID here, which kind of runs down. But she also has hair kind of. Oh my, not that pointy, I guess. But yeah, let's first do the front. She kind of has a combination of multiple hairstyles. She kind of has a bit of what Twilight has at this front. Like she has that curve that Twilight also kind of has, that diagonal curve slightly. But she also has the points that kind of RD and such have, and it's kind of side swept like this, kind of what Twilight also has. But yeah, it's kind of a nice example of where you can go with hairstyles. Like, now to think of it, she has quite a nice combination. I suppose also her tail here, it can kind of be considered a two-parter in ways. Whereas the tail and the rest of her mane, the center part, can flow together quite a bit. And like, I guess she has kind of the what you call it? Well, this kind of hair, kind of idea. The speed, flaming, cold flame hair. So kind of. That idea, yeah, I guess that kind of is. So, kind of taking multiple hairstyles at the same time, which is completely possible to do. And let's see, we had another idea. Oh, witches. Like combination, another. I guess I'll do the original hairstyling maybe a bit later or something. Because I have an excuse to make more Applejack hair. So yeah, the combinations, the Gala hair of Applejack, besides the fact that she has braided hair, which is awesome to see, because you can do that as well, like different ways of tying up the hair. And yeah, I'll make the hairstyles during the Q&A, unless the question is specific for certain hairstyles, but yeah, I'll do that during that. It should be enough time indeed. Let's do Applejack. So let's kind of show what I mean with Applejack's hair. Again, what's kind of I talk about with Cloud Chaser, where you can kind of combine different aspects of hair. You can kind of get some ideas, I suppose. Like if you're not sure what kind of hairstyle you want, you can kind of take one hairstyle and then look at what kind of aspects other hairstyles have. And when it comes to the at Gala style, it's kind of a combination of, or well, the curls of rarity are applied to it. So let's take Applejack's mane here, which usually kind of runs like this, right? So this little point here is kind of still kept to kind of help it transfer hair, but they kind of took all this hair up here, kind of took it, straightened it out, and then added that curve. Kind of started to curve it just like Rarity's hair kind of does, and then create that nice little curl-ish S shape. But they did give her mane some thickness with it, kind of the same idea with Fluttershy's hair, where it is not flat, which Applejack's original hairstyle isn't either, so they kind of retained that aspect with her hair, and so they kind of have this floating line here sitting, because this ends up being one big mess, a mass of hair, kind of a thick pastry dough thing, something, apple pie. So that's what they kind of did there with her. So that is how you can kind of combine different elements from different hairstyles, and kind of play around, taking one of the other, then retaining things like the thickness, the fullness, the volume of her hair, and taking it from there. So there's this, and that, and this, and then her braid. It's braiding, right? Yeah, basically, or well, yeah, that thing here, and then here, I suppose, is kind of just knowing what kind of lines you need for this. You kind of need these back and forth lines. For these, so kind of curves inwards, back and forth, and then I did the center curl, and I guess this is really roughly done and such, but I guess it's enough to kind of show. Let's resize that, and then to make it more fancy, like her original hairstyle is just points here, so they kind of did the same thing as what they did with her mane in the little pluck at the end of her tail, and added that curve, that curl in here again. So taking those things, kind of idea. So combining things. Let's see how much time do I have. 2 minutes until Q&A. Yeah, I guess I'll see if I can kind of create my own IDs, maybe. Well, at the same time, I'm going to try and maybe answer your Q&A or your questions. Have a Q&A. I guess I'll start that now, even though couple minutes short until it officially should start. Anyhow, if there are any questions out there regarding hairstyles, like maybe going through some things again, or if there's hairstyles out there that you don't quite understand or get how they work, want me to see if I can browse through that, leave them in. Need to recap. I need to recap this a bit. I guess I'll do that now. Yes. So hair. Well, here it kind of shows hair base. So kind of going to starting out with the essence of the hair, or the origin of the hair, whether it's the mane, which originates from just a straight line across the head from the front to the back of the neck. That is where all the hair comes from. So you are kind of tied to that. You can kind of see that with, I guess, Scootaloo. Like if you take Scootaloo from the side, she has quite short hairs at the back of her neck, kind of, which stands up like this. So, but it is there. It is kind of required to have some hair there, or well, otherwise it might look slightly weird and non-horse-like. Like with humans, I guess you could do that. And I suppose you could shave it and such, but with mares and such, I suppose, or well, usually a bald female seems to be less accepted in society than a bald male, or looks weirder than when a male character is bald and such. So I guess maybe something with that has to do with that. But I guess it's entirely possible to just go bald character, I suppose. Also, when it comes to the show relies quite a bit on hairstyles to give character, give personality, and those kind of things to define the character. So, in the show itself, you probably wouldn't see it that often, or at all. Like there, so far we've only had like, well, at least one actual bald one, and then well, the old ponies there. But yeah. Well, yeah, that's the mane, and then the tail. Kind of explain that the tail does have a bone structure running through it, so there is muscles, which kind of explains why the ponies and such and other creatures can move their tails around, even though it looks like just hair. Like, imagine if you'd have to move your own hair, if you have long hair, if you would have to move that without having any muscles underneath, or bone or fingers underneath to move it around. Like, you'd have to move your entire head to move it around. So there's that. So that's kind of the tail. I quickly went through that. I focused mainly on the manes, and then well, Applejack's mane here. Applejack rarity kind of showing the divide where it is on the back of the head, where the mane kind of divides into the lower part and the upper part, and then well, kind of here with Applejack's mane, which is quite different from Rarity's mane, where Rarity has kind of the flat mane coming up. Applejack has more of a full volume mane, and kind of showing what kind of logic there can be behind it. The front coming from this point here, the orange point coming from the top, which kind of shown here, and the blue and the green ones originate from the back side, almost in the neck, those kind of things. And then Rarity's mane kind of broken down into just being a flat plane that is curved or curled around, like toilet roll ID almost. Yeah, nice comparison, right? And then kind of going into how I kind of approach Rarity's mane, how you can simplify it into steps, starting out with just the front line, just the S shape thingy, the curve there. And then Twilight's mane, which is also one of those interesting ones, because there is logic in her mane as to this curve at this front kind of originates from the front side of her mane, which this is kind of the top view. There, so the blue curve here lower, the orange one is higher, and this originates from the front, and the blue one from the back in the rear, in her neck kind of ID. And then Fluttershy kind of the same approach as Rarity, except that two front lines to create some thickness to it, some more volume, and then a little Rainbow Dash there, because Rainbow Dash was left out almost after I made Pink Pie. Pink Pie I remembered first. Pink Pie. Enough said. Zecora kind of shows the two extremes slightly with her hairstyles that she had. The straight up, which is one of the simplest ways you can kind of go with, except for that bald would be even simpler, I suppose. So just straight up mohawk, because a mohawk kind of is, well, the one hairstyle that is just a straight line that humans also have, I suppose. But she kind of also shows that you can divide a single place, a single origin, single origin point of the hair into multiple hair. Like you are not limited to just having one thing from one spot. You can have multiple sides of hair, plucks of hair from the same spot. So there's almost no limitation to that, except for the limitation where it starts to look weird if you have too much coming from the same spot, maybe kind of thing. Also, I'm not sure how weird that part is anyhow, and then Cloud Chaser, how you can kind of have 3 different elements to the hair, where the front part goes forward, but then the middle part is separate from the front part, which goes backwards with points, and then the tail kind of is different again. So kind of showing how you can again divide the mane up in multiple parts, more than 2 parts, which the 2 parts usually seem the case for most ponies, front and back kind of idea, but you can step away from that indeed. And then also showing that you can combine different elements, like this top line on Cloud Chaser's mane kind of looks like Twilight's top line, and then the points down below, kind of like Rainbow Dash, kind of a tail ID. So you can kind of combine with it. And well, again, the combination here with Applejack, here's kind of nice Applejack and Rarity next to each other. How you can kind of combine that, those elements, the curve from Rarity's mane applied to Applejack's mane, and Applejack's mane is a bit full and volume, so it doesn't have one single line running through it, kind of, except for maybe this here. But yeah, kind of that. And then braiding or making a tail, kind of what Applejack has in general, just tying it up in a way. You can play around with that if you look at like maybe fashion shows or something, like, or just in general, however you could tie up your hair, you could apply that to pony hair, and then the only thing you kind of have to think about is that you are dealing with a different line, which I kind of want to do next, so because I cannot remember if any of the ponies had an actual ponytail with the tie really close to the head. Like if I have to tie this up, like here, kind of idea, like a ponytail here at the back of their head, like this being the front, and then here, kind of this being the front. So, and a recap finished. If there's any questions, drop them. If I missed any questions, you may repeat them, of course. If I don't read out the question, I might have missed it, so feel free to repeat it. Oh, mustaches and beards, maybe. Those are bits. I'll brush up on that in a moment. So, but first this. So her tail, I kind of had the front part here, so that is where that hair comes from. But then this tail needs hair as well. But since the line, the origin line here runs down back in the neck, I have to kind of have hair coming from there as well. So from down here, because that is, or I can leave some hair hanging down here. I could do that as well. So based on that, from necessity comes invention, kind of thing. Like, oh, it kind of looks weird like this. I want to make it stop looking slightly weird. I can do this, add this, or move the ponytail downwards some more. I could also do that, of course. Or in an extreme case, I could just trim it down with like scissors down here and just go like this, and oh, maybe like that. But then it might look slightly weird. So here we go, like a nice little tail. I've always kind of liked to What? French accent? Also, thank you. But I'm from the Netherlands. Oh, I had to do it. And now it's recorded in the workshop, and it will be up on YouTube. Not sure if I have done that before. But yeah, a nice little ponytail here. And it kind of goes upwards. But I guess you can kind of change that. So... maybe have it go down instead. So kind of here, kind of showing things how I would, I guess in this case, design a hairstyle. So let's take it from there. Just change it up slightly here. Oh, maybe I'll have a second smaller ponytail here. Double ponytail! How come I haven't thought about that before? Oh, you could even do triple ponytail. Like this, and then maybe I'll have a bit more hair from here brushed forward to have that divide a bit closer to the base of this first giant ponytail here. So there we go. A different design. The hair has been doubled. Oh. Now let's see if I saw a little something there. Spike with a mane. Oh my, that's I guess he can have a mustache, so maybe a mane. So oh god, Spike. Maybe he still has these skills or something. And then the little things here in his nose. And of course there. Sensei Spike. Oh no. Nice. Let's see. Let's give him I'm looking at Sakura here, which I guess your peripheral vision kind of influences your brain quite a bit. Like the first thing I was thinking was, oh, double side-swept mane, but it's actually shown up here as well. So that's why I did that. I have Sakura here, up here. Oh god, this looks weird. This is very simple Spike. Like, a sketch ID can be very simple, like at least if it kind of shows the ID with it, like oh. Oh, me being serious? I'm always serious. Ooh, there's one main that I should, or style main that I maybe should look at. That might be interesting to do. Although it is a main that is really hard to explain, I suppose, simply because of the waviness, the constant waves that are going on in them. There's the princesses, or well, Luna and Celestia. Oh god, how does one explain those? Apart from AJ's. I guess, yeah, Let's see, which main do I like to do the most? Apart from AJ. Oh god, you've taken away like 120% of my hairstyle choices right now. Oh, I guess I cannot really say Applejack's Applejack's Gala hairstyle. Oh god, I guess it might have to be. I'm kind of thinking about which hairstyle I go to when I don't know exactly what to do, and I suppose that is like Fluttershy's main, which seems to be, besides the hairstyle that Applejack and Rainbow Dash have, seems to be the most basic long hair. Like when it comes to long hair, I suppose Fluttershy's main is kind of simplest to do. But I guess that is more like simplicity, for simplicity's sake, that I do that. So let's see about Luna. Luna has like her horn. That's also something you can think about. How you can use the horn to divide the hair. Luna has kind of a clear small plug that goes at the other side of her horn, which kind of covers up the base of her horn, and then well, actually it covers up a lot more, like almost her entire face. Actually, it kind of covers up her entire forehead. Like her head only shows underneath that curl, so you don't see that anymore, which I can definitely see why they did that. Well, it's so they can have the big curve. Like I guess it tends to go in this direction, like the giant manes. Kind of thing. So, oh god, like I guess it kind of goes like this if you take away the ear. Alicorns in. It almost seems like there's a constant wind pushing her hair in this direction, which I guess is the same for Celestia, and then I kind of took away her ear here. So basically here, like it's constantly a wind, a space wind, just flowing through her mane here. And oh god, her face looks weird. So here, there we go. Her other eye is actually not exactly visible in the show, at least, so, but maybe here it is. So yeah, I'll do it my way. So yeah, whoa. Did I miss any questions or? Oh, braided hair? Oh, the braided hair I kind of did here. I'll kind of. How many minutes do I have? Oh, 10 minutes. I'll do about 7 or 5 or 5 or 7 more minutes. Pronunciation of questions or just drawing hair, and then Oh wait, yeah, I was indeed going to quickly brush up on things. So let's first do the beard, since I already have a braided hair. Uh, paint a princess version of me. Oh my, I might have to do it sometime. Monkey princess. I feel so pretty! Yay. I guess mustaches are kind of simple. I guess beards like... if this is your face, the beard kind of just kind of runs down here. Mustache here of the mouth is here. So that is kind of the browsing through the origin. And I suppose there, it's kind of human-like when it comes to the mustache and or facial hair on ponies, such as just kind of what humans have. Like some beards are trimmed down to just the lower line, but others will run more up on the cheeks a bit more towards the like this kind of area. I suppose slightly. And of course the little goatee area part, kind of here. So it's usually around the mouth, quite empty, I suppose. So here we go. So yeah, beards. I guess you should just look at humans. I guess yeah, there's no real unique thing about beards on ponies and such, except that the shape of the face is slightly different, of course. At least in the show, there isn't really a defined way for that. So yeah, there's kind of a quick brush up on beards, I suppose. Let's quickly do braid it here. So I kind of took a basic shape, braided hair. So I get braided. There's the different curves. It's kind of a zigzag kind of idea like this, braided hair, depending on how you braid it, I suppose. But it's kind of that idea that you kind of have to apply here. So I'll just kind of try to do that here. Let's see how this turns out. I'm kind of running the lines a bit further than here. Here I kind of made them end along a center line up here, but here I guess I'll run them through almost from side to side ID. And then let's delete these lines and make them run a bit less static into each other. Make these ends a bit more curve or round. Let's see how this turns out. Sometimes you just have to kind of try things out, see how it goes, maybe adjust a slight little thing to it. And I suppose maybe if this is like the back of the head kind of idea. Whoa, how does the base of a braided tail kind of look like actually? I don't know. Yeah, I'm messing this up. Wait, what? What have I? Wait, how did I? I guess maybe I should put this curve here some more. Oh god. How much time do I have? 2 more minutes and then I'll head into the final talk. My final words. So maybe if there's a small quick question that I can briefly answer. This is the final time, and then I'll go into the final words, and then the workshop will restart, which is the usual thing, and then I'll go into general art in a moment. For those watching here live, for those on YouTube, this basically means that the video will be ending soon. So yeah, let's see, and wet main, maybe I can draw that out. Oh god, my time is running out. Yeah, 1 more minute. Wet main just kind of run down like that. Again, center line, and then everything goes from there. ID thing. And with wet main, since water makes the hair quite heavy, it goes kind of straight down and such. So, I think, yep, 3 minutes to go, time for the final talks. Yeah, I already did a little recap. I hope you all kind of enjoyed it. I hope this ends up being somewhat useful, kind of explaining how hair kind of works, and maybe you can use this to create your own hairstyles or make fun little combinations of existing hairstyles. Like you can go either way or any other way that there is. Just taking hairstyles, combining them, maybe help a bit with creating existing hairstyles, just existing hairstyles like rarities hairstyles. I hope that's turned out being useful, and explaining Twilight's hair, which knowing things like this, how the hair kind of works, helps when you need to rotate around a pony's head. So you can kind of have something to hold on to when you have to paint them or draw them from a different angle. This, especially where this could come in very useful. So kind of deciphering that. And of course you can kind of play around with it when needed. But yeah, final talks should actually be about next week. Next week I will be doing a workshop. I think the week after that, so in 2 weeks I might skip the workshop and switch over to a bi-weekly workshop. But basically next week will still be happening, and that will be one of 3 topics that are left in the poll. I will go through the poll topics that are up there, which would be, so it's either clothing 30-minute challenge or giving and receiving critique, how to. Which clothing, pretty straightforward. 30-minute challenge, I will basically go into how you can kind of speed up the process, which parts are important to focus on, the priorities you might have to stand by when making 30-minute challenge to make the best use of your time. And giving and receiving critique is a pretty important one for me, because it critique is an art in itself. It's a two-way communication, social thingy, which sometimes does go kind of wrong. I think, or which can impact an artist or the critiquer negatively, but you should always aim for the positive perceiving. But that's kind of basically that. So next week will happen. I will put up a poll. I think. I think that poll will be just like one poll, and then I'll follow the order. But anyhow, thank you all for stopping by. Time is out. Hopefully till next time. I hope you all enjoyed it. Have a good one.